All right, let's dive in. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the engine room of the entire digital economy, the cryptocurrency exchange. These are the places where digital assets get their start, where they're traded, and where they ultimately find their value. So let's break down how they really work. So get this. Every single day, more than $100 billion worth of crypto changes hands. I mean, that is just a staggering amount of value flying around the globe. So the big question is, where is all this happening? What does this massive marketplace actually look like? Okay, so at its very core, a crypto exchange is just a digital marketplace. It's kind of like the New York Stock Exchange, but instead of trading stocks and companies, you're trading digital assets, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's really the crucial bridge that connects our regular traditional money, like dollars or euros, to this whole new world of crypto. Now, to really get a grip on the role these exchanges play today, it really helps to look at how they got here. I mean, they've evolved from these tiny niche internet forums into the incredibly sophisticated financial hubs we see today. Back in the early days, just getting your hands on crypto was a huge challenge. You either had to mine it yourself with some seriously powerful computers, or you had to go find a stranger in an online forum who was willing to trade with you. It was complicated. But then, in 2009, the very first exchange popped up, and boom, everything changed. Access became way easier, and now, today, there are literally hundreds of options to choose from. So let's start with the most common type, the one that most people encounter first. It's called the centralized exchange, or CX for short. You can think of this as the main street of the crypto world. A CEX is basically an exchange run by a company, and that company acts as a trusted middleman. So just like a bank holds your money for you, a CEX holds your crypto assets in their accounts. They run what's called an order book, which is just a system to perfectly match your buy order with someone else's sell order. Their whole job is to make sure that transaction goes smoothly and securely. And getting started on one is designed to be pretty simple. First, you just create an account. Then you'll have to verify your identity through a process called Know Your Customer, or KYC. And this is a really important step. It's a regulatory thing that helps these platforms prevent fraud. Once you're verified, you just deposit money from your bank, and that's it. You're ready to start trading. So why are they so popular? Well, it really boils down to convenience. They have these super user-friendly apps, they have really high trading volumes, which means you can almost always buy or sell instantly, and they offer these simple on-ramps to turn your dollars into crypto. Plus, if something goes wrong, there's usually a customer support team you can call. But what if you don't want a middleman? What if you want to trade directly with another person? Well, that brings us to the other side of the crypto universe, the decentralized exchange, or DEX. And the biggest difference between them, the fundamental one, it all comes down to control. With a CEX, the company holds your crypto for you. But with a DEX, you are always in control. You hold your own funds in your own personal wallet. This is a pure peer-to-peer system that operates without any central company and usually without any identity verification needed. So how is this even possible? Well, it's all powered by something called a smart contract. The best way to think about it is like a self-executing computer program that lives on the blockchain. It acts like an automated, totally trustless escrow service. It holds both sides of the trade, and once all the conditions are met, it automatically executes the swap. It makes that traditional middleman totally obsolete. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so modern exchanges are way, way more than just a simple buy and sell button. No, they've evolved into these comprehensive financial platforms that offer a whole toolkit of different services. Now, exchanges typically offer two main ways to interact with the market. First, there's spot trading. That's when you're buying the actual crypto asset and taking ownership of it. But then there's CFD trading, which stands for contract for difference. Here, you're not buying the asset, you're just speculating on whether its price will go up or down. CFDs also often involve leverage, which is basically a tool that can massively amplify both your gains and your losses. And like I said, it's not just about trading anymore. Many exchanges offer a whole suite of financial services. You can stake your assets to help secure a network and earn rewards. It's kind of like earning interest. You can also lend out your crypto to earn even more interest. Some exchanges even offer debit cards so you can spend your holdings directly in stores. And for the real pros, they have APIs that let you build automated trading bots. So when you do decide to make a trade, you have a lot of control. A market order is all about speed. It buys or sells for you immediately at whatever the current best price is. A limit order, on the other hand, is about precision. It only goes through at a specific price you set. And a stop loss is for protection. It automatically sells for you if the price drops to a certain point, helping you limit any potential losses. But all this innovation doesn't just happen in a bubble. To really understand the whole picture, we have to talk about the real-world risks and the massive emerging role of regulation. And this brings us to a really crucial point about those centralized exchanges. When you use one, you are trusting that company to protect your money. And as history has shown us, that trust can be broken. The absolutely catastrophic collapses of platforms like MGOX years ago, and more recently FTX, are just stark reminders of this counterparty risk. In response to all the market volatility and these kinds of risks, we've seen a huge shift in how people use crypto. By late 2023, stablecoins, cryptocurrencies that are pegged to a stable asset like the US dollar, made up the vast majority of all transaction volume. The search for stability has pretty much made them the go-to currency for any activity happening on a blockchain. And if you look at this chart, you can see exactly why. I mean, compared to the wild price swings of assets like Bitcoin, the volatility of the major stablecoins is practically zero. It's almost identical to cash. And that stability doesn't just make them useful for payments, it also makes them incredibly attractive to regulators who are trying to figure out how to build a framework for digital money. This has created a situation that researcher David Krauss calls political orphanhood. It looks like U.S. policy is creating a super clear pathway for regulated, dollar-pegged stablecoins to become part of the official financial system. But at the same time, it seems to be intentionally leaving assets like Bitcoin, which don't have a central company behind them, outside of that whole payment system, treating it more like a digital commodity, kind of like digital gold. And that leaves us with a really powerful final question. As this whole digital economy moves forward, what's going to be the thing that ultimately defines what we use as money? Is it going to be the elegant, decentralized design of a protocol like Bitcoin, or is it going to be the regulatory rules and frameworks designed by governments?